Hi, I'm Kit. I teach philosophy at Azim Premji University.
Hi, Kit. I'm Titiksha, and I'm a second year BA Humanities student at Azim Premji University. I had a question just like, do you think philosophy matters?
Do I think philosophy? Titiksha, do you think philosophy matters? Let's start with your view, and
Uh,
please give your honest view. No is a
I
perfectly acceptable answer. I think.
I honestly think philosophy does matter, especially
Why?
especially when it's philosophy of specific subjects.
Oh, right. So philosophy of next trimester we're doing philosophy of science. We'll do philosophy of economics. We'll do philosophy of quantum mechanics. Why does that matter?
Because I feel like it's important to keep in mind why we are actually studying what we are instead of just doing some theoretical or even practical work and not like actually going behind the purpose of why we
Yeah.
did this or why other people have done this in the past and why those particular subjects matter
So your idea is I'm doing something, and philosophy is going to help me understand why I'm doing it.
or why that thing is worth doing, not why
Right.
I'm doing it.
Why it's valuable.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the threat it could work out the other way, right? Supposing I'm an economist and I come and I do philosophy of economics, and then I decide at the end actually economics is completely pointless. I mean, that's a possible conclusion, right? You could reach.
But
It's not. But to be very clear, it's not my conclusion. I love economics, so I teach philosophy of economics because I get to do some economics in it. But,
even reaching that conclusion is important, right? At least you get to
yeah,
know something about
I
it.
mean, if it's true, it's best to know it. Yeah, before you waste a life on a pointless discipline. Um, Sorry, economists. really don't think you're pointless. You're doing philosophy of economics right now. Actually, it's kind of fun. And we start with the question: economics is actually not particularly good at predicting, especially neoclassical economics. So, what on earth is it doing then? Is it just explaining? And can you predict? Can you explain without predicting? And we look at we look at Ricardo and the Corn Laws, which is this protectionist law that came into the UK in the 19th century. Um, and how Ricardo, his great economist, made all these dire predictions. These protectionist laws would come in, and then the price of corn would go up, and landlords would get all the money, and the rate of profit would fall, and the economy would collapse. And none of it happened, right? None of it happened. In fact, on the contrary, wages went up, the price of corn actually went down a bit, and landlords didn't get richer and richer and richer, and the rate of profit didn't fall, or continuously. And Ricardo's like, yeah, it's fine. I'm still right. And John Stuart Mill, another economist and a philosopher, back then there wasn't really a difference. He said, yeah. I mean, Ricardo's right. Why? What were they thinking, right? Um, but I think Mill's got a point. I don't know if ultimately his point is right. Ricardo had a point about not paying too careful attention to those failed predictions. So that's the sort of stuff you could do if you're an economist. Hopefully, you'd come away with a sort of more nuanced, sophisticated understanding of why economics is valuable. That would be worth having, but you're right. Maybe you decide it's pointless. That's concerning. There's a meta philosophy, by the way, Titiksha, where you discuss whether philosophy has any point. There's even something. There's an article called Meta philosophy. We don't do that sort of thing, AP. Really, I think we're much more focused on sort of everyday concerns. It's a little bit abstract and sort of academic-y for our tastes for undergraduate AP, but it's fun to read. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, interesting. So you think it's valuable because it helps you understand what's valuable.
Yeah.
It's a sort of little guide pointing out what's valuable in the world.
You still haven't answered the question though.
Yeah, I think it's got two sorts of value. It's just intrinsically valuable. It's valuable in and of itself, regardless of what the consequences are. These are questions which really bug us. What exactly is science? Why is it different from any other way of thinking? Is it different from other way of thinking? Does it deserve its place at the center of society? How do scientists reason? How do scientists come up with the theories in the first place, let alone choose them? These are the questions I spent a large chunk of my life on. What is beauty? Is it really just in the eye of the beholder, or can I help you see the beauty that's in the painting? Or can you help me see the beauty that's in the sunrise? Why do people listen to sad music? That's one that always gets me, right? People watch sad Netflix things. I bet you do. You must watch really kind of miserable Netflix things, right?
I do, yes.
What's the most miserable thing you watch?
I watched this movie called The Inside Out, which is basically a 12-year-old girl animated, and she is finding her way through life, and it's basically her emotions
Right.
shown up.
Is that
So
miserable though? I thought that film was quite charming. I haven't watched it, but I heard it was charming.
it seems charming on its surface, but it is bound to get you crying.
It's bleak. Why would you? I don't understand. Why would you? It's a genuine philosophical puzzle. Why would you go and watch something that makes you sad? Right? You got a choice. You could be watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine or Punch It or something like that, which is kind of happy and silly, right? But you choose to watch miserable things that make you cry. Why? There's a general philosophical puzzle there, I think. And there are a bunch of interesting solutions. So you might think, oh, it's not really sadness, I feel. It's a sort of something which resembles sadness in just the right sort of way. Or I want to kind of get rid of my emotions. I want to have this catharsis thing. Or, and as philosophy can think very carefully and slowly and map out all of the possible answers and narrow down on the best one. That's, so there you go. Those sorts of questions. There's an intrinsic value to answering them. We just want to know the answer. And that's not some sort of elite thing. That happens for people from all over society. There's everywhere you go in society, everywhere in the world, there's the same mix of some people just don't care at all about philosophical questions. Right? They don't keep them awake at night. Doesn't bother them at all. And other people are like, oh gosh, why do I watch things that make me cry? It's also, I think, the evidence is in, and it's tremendously instrumentally valuable for what it can give you. It gives you these capabilities which are really good of thinking creatively but rigorously. So you don't just come up with an idea, but you're able to compare it to different people's ideas and show how yours is better, or how it solves this problem, or how it doesn't solve this problem. You're able to express yourself concisely and clearly. Saying exactly what you want is a difficult skill, and it's something that really spend a lot of time working on in philosophy. Working with people who disagree with you and making progress together, even disagree very fundamentally. An understanding of the sort of different ways of thinking about politics and religion that you meet in India. You get all of those capabilities. You can use those capabilities to tremendous effect after you've left philosophy, either in sort of public service generally, journalism, or working in the civil sector or the civil service, or in the corporate world. These are useful skills. You also get a bit of maths, right? You get a bit of familiar with formalism, formal systems. You learn some reasonably high-level maths. You don't have a very good breadth of maths, but you're kind of comfortable working in that mathematical way of thinking. And that's also tremendously useful nowadays. So quite a lot of philosophers go on to become computer programmers, actually. It's a similar way of thinking, careful, watertight, don't make a mistake. And like I say, philosophers come out with some logical, mathematical skills.
It does give you those kind of skills to think of every logical way and a rationale to everything.
Yeah, spotting that little corner of the idea space, logical space, which no one's noticed yet. Say, oh, there's a different view here. Is it any good? Let's test it out. It's also a lot of fun, I think. So philosophy is kind of not fun, I think, for the first 3 or 4 weeks. And you're like, you were talking about having that experience, like, oh, what the hell is going on? This is, what's this validity thing? Oh, goodness me. And then you get over this, you climb this hill, you look over the hill and you see the other side, this kind of broad land of milk and honey spread out before you. And all these kind of beautiful things, and suddenly you're coming up with your own ideas. You're going to your friends, you're talking to your friends about these ideas, and they've got their own ideas. Oh, look, but I think you're wrong because of this reason. And you know you're not just talking nonsense, right? You're saying something that's meaningful, that's precise, that's careful. That's a lot of fun, I think.
It is. Yeah, I do really miss that, going to each other's and just scrambling out your own ideas about each and every philosophical thought that we studied. So
Yeah.